So to this hall full quickly rode the king, in horror lest the work by Merlin wrought, dreamlike, should on the sudden vanish, wrapped in unremorseful folds of folding fire. And in he rode, and up I glanced and saw the golden dragon sparkling over all, and many of those who burnt the hold, their arms hacked, and their foreheads grimed with smoke, grimed with smoke, and seared, followed, and in among bright faces ours, full of the vision pressed. And then the king spake to me, being nearest, Percival, because the hall was all in tumult, some vowing, some protesting. What is this? A brother, when I told him what had chanced, my sister's vision, and the rest, his face darkened as I have seen it more than once, when some brave deed seemed to be done in vain. Darken, and woe is me, my knights, he cried. Had I been here, ye had not sworn the vow. Bold was mine answer, had thyself been here. My king, thou wouldst have sworn, yea, yea, said he. Art thou so bold, and hast not seen the Grail? Nay, Lord, I heard the sound and saw the light, but since I did not see the holy thing, I sware a vow to follow it till I saw. Then when he asked us, night by night, if any had seen it, all their answers were as one. Nay, Lord, and thereafter have we sworn our vows. Lo now, said Arthur, have ye seen a cloud? What go ye into the wilderness to see? Then Galahad, on the sudden, and in a voice shrilling along the hall, to Arthur cried, But I, Sir Arthur, saw the Holy Grail. I saw the Holy Grail, and heard a cry, O Galahad, O Galahad, follow me. Ah, Galahad, Galahad, said the king, for such as thou art is the vision, not for these. Thy holy nun and thou have seen a sign, holier is none, my Percival. Then she, a sign to maim this order which I made, but ye that follow, but the leader's bell. Brother, the king was heard upon his knights. Tennyson is our fullest throat of song, and one hath sung, and all the dumb will sing. Lancelot is Lancelot, and hath overborne 5 knights at once, and every younger knight unproven holds himself as Lancelot, till overborne by one he learns. And ye, what are ye, Galahads? No, nor Percivals. For thus it pleased the king to range me close after Sir Galahad. Nay, said he, but men with strength and will to right the wronged, a power to lay the sudden heads of violence flat, knights that in 12 great battles splashed and died, the strong white horse in his own heathen blood. But one hath seen, and all the blind will see. Go, since your vows are sacred, being made. Yet for ye know the cries of all my realm pass through this hall how often, O my knights, your places being vacant at my side. This chance of noble deeds will come and go unchallenged, while ye follow wandering fires. Lost in the quagmire, many of you, yea most, return no more. Ye think I show myself too dark a prophet. Come now, let us meet the morrow morn once more in one full field of gracious pastime, that once more the king afore ye leave him for this quest, may count the yet unbroken strength of all his knights, rejoicing in that order which he made. So when the sun broke next from underground, all the great table of our Arthur closed, and clashed in such a tourney, and so full, so many lances broken, never yet had Camelot seen the like since Arthur came, and I myself and Galahad, for a strength was in us from this vision, overthrew so many knights that all the people cried, and almost burst the barriers in their heat, shouting, Sir Galahad and Sir Perceval. But when the next day brake from underground, O brother, had you known our Camelot, built by old kings, age after age so old, the king himself had fears that it would fall, so strange and rich and dim, for where the roofs tottered toward each other in the sky, met foreheads all along the street of those who watched us pass, and lower were the long rich galleries, lady-laden, waved the necks of dragons clinging to the crazy walls. Thicker than drops from thunder, showers of flowers fell as we passed, and men and boys astride on rearvern, lion, dragon, griffin, swan. At all the corners named us each by name, calling God's speed, but in the ways below the knights and ladies wept, and rich and poor wept, and the king himself could hardly speak for grief, and all in the middle street the queen, who rode by Lancelot, wailed and shrieked aloud, This madness has come on us for our sins. So to the gate of the three queens we came, where Arthur's wars are rendered mystically, and thence departed every one his way. And I was lifted up in heart and thought of all my late shown prowess in the lists, how my strong lance had beaten down the knights, so many and famous names, and never yet had heaven appeared so blue, nor earth so green, but all my blood danced in me, and I knew that I should light upon the Holy Grail, that after the dark warning of our King, that most of us would follow wandering fires, come like a driving gloom across my mind, and every evil word I had spoken once, and every evil thought I had thought of old, and every evil deed I ever did, awoke and cried, This quest is not for thee. Yeah, because evil has its own quest, right? And lifting up mine eyes, I found myself alone and in a land of sand and thorns, and I was thirsty even unto death. And I, too, cried, This quest is not for thee. And on I rode, and when I thought my thirst would slay me, saw deep lawns, and then a brook, with one sharp rapid, where the crisping white played ever back upon the sloping wave, and took both ear and eye, and o'er the brook were apple trees and apples by the brook, fallen, and on the lawns. I will rest here, I said, I am not worthy of the quest. But even while I drank the brook and ate the goodly apples, all these things at once fell into dust, and I was left alone, and thirsting in a land of sand and thorns. And then, behold, a woman at a door, spinning and fair, the house whereby she sat, and kind the woman's eyes and innocent, and all her bearing gracious. And she rose, opening her arms to meet me, as who should say, Rest here. But when I touched her, lo, she too fell into dust and nothing, and the house became no better than a broken shed, and in it a dead babe. And also this fell into dust, and I was left alone. And on I rode, and greater was my thirst. Then flashed a yellow gleam across the world, and where it smote the plowshare in the field, the plowman left his plowing, and fell down before it, where it glittered on her pail. The milkmaid left her milking, and fell down before it, and I knew not why, but thought, the sun is rising, though the sun had risen. Then was I ware of one that on me moved, in golden armor with the jewel of gold, with a crown of gold, about a casque all jewels, and his horse in golden armor jeweled everywhere. And on the splendor came flashing me blind, and seemed to me the Lord of all the world, being so huge. But when I thought he meant to crush me, moving on me, lo, he too opened his arms to embrace me as he came. And up I went and touched him, and he too fell into dust, and I was left alone and wearying in a land of sand and thorns. So, in most cultures, this story would involve an angel, but in this case, an incarnated, a supposed incarnation of a god. And I rode on and found a mighty hill, and on the top a city walled. The spires pricked with incredible pinnacles into heaven, and by the gateway stirred a crowd, and these cried to me climbing, welcome Percival, thou mightiest and thou purest among men. And glad was I, and clomb, but found at top no man nor any voice, and thence I passed far through a ruinous city, and I saw that man had once dwelt there, but there I found only one man of an exceeding age. Where is that goodly company, said I, that so cried out upon me? And he had scarce any voice to answer, and yet grasped, whence and what art thou? And even as he spoke, fell into dust. And disappeared. I was left alone once more, and cried in grief, lo, if I find the Holy Grail itself and touch it, it will crumble into dust. Well, that's why he's given these visions. This is what he's looking for, that he loses hope in it. And thence I dropped into a lowly vale, low as the hill was high, and where the vale was lowest, found a chapel, and thereby a holy hermit in a hermitage, to whom I told my phantoms, and he said, O son, thou hast not true humility, the highest virtue, mother of them all, for when the Lord of all things made himself naked of glory for his mortal change, take thou my robe, she said, for all is thine. And all her form shone forth with sudden light, so that angels were amazed, and she followed him down like a flying star, led on the gray-haired wisdom of the East. But her that hast not known, for what is this? Thou thoughtest of thy prowess and thy sins. Thou hast not lost thyself to save thyself, as Galahad, when the hermit made an end. In silver armor suddenly Galahad shone before us, and against the chapel door laid lance and entered, and we knelt in prayer. And there the hermit slacked my burning thirst, and the sacring of the mass I saw, the holy elements alone, but he. Saw ye no more, I Galahad saw the Grail, the Holy Grail descend upon the shrine, saw the fiery face as of a child. That smote itself into the bread and went. And hither am I come, and never yet hath what thy sister taught me first to see, this holy thing, failed from my side, nor come, covered but moving with me night and day, fainter by day but always in the night, blood red and sliding down the blackened marsh, blood red, and on the naked mountain top, blood red, and in this sleeping mere below, blood red, and in the strength of this I rode, shattering all evil customs everywhere, and passed through pagan realms, and made them mine, and clashed with pagan hordes, and bore them down, and broke through all, and in the strength of this come victor. But my time is hard at hand, and hence I go, and one will crown me king, far in the spiritual city, and come thou too, for thou shalt see the vision where I go. Now, if you're fighting people just because they believe differently, or you think that they believe differently, this is something that I believe an individual or a nation is cursed by God. If they're fighting for land, slaves, POWs, whatever you want to call it, if they're fighting for some sort of wealth, whether the natural resources or some other sort of wealth, same thing. Cursed. Forced conversions create problems in society in terms of preserving the very religion you're trying to force on people, as we've seen with Christianity, we've seen with Buddhism and Bon, and there's other incidences that are less known, less involved. But while thus he spake, his eye dwelling on mine, drew me with power upon me till I grew one with him to believe as he believed. Then when the day began to wane, we went. There rose a hill that none but man could climb, scarred with 100 wintry water courses, storm at the top, and when we gained it, storm round us and death. For every moment glanced his silver arms and gloomed, so quick and thick the lightnings here and there, to left and right, struck, till the dry old trunks about us dead, yea, rotten with 100 years of death, sprang into fire, and at the base we found on either hand, as far as eye could see, a great black swamp, and of an evil smell, part black, part whitened, with the bones of men, not to be crossed, save that some ancient king had built a way where, linked with many a bridge, 1,000 piers ran into the great sea, and Galahad fled along them bridge by bridge, and every bridge as quickly as he crossed sprang into fire and vanished, though I yearned to follow, and thrice above him all the heavens opened and blazed with thunder, such as seemed shoutings of all the sons of God. Figure of speech, as I've shown in my spring equinox. Well, the explanation is the only thing left on the channel, but and first, at once, I saw him far on the great sea, in silver shining army starry clear, and o'er his head the holy vessel hung, clothed in white, smite are a luminous cloud, and with the exceeding swiftness ran the boat. If boat it were, I saw not whence it came, and when the heavens opened and blazed again, roaring, I saw him like a silver star. And had he set the sail, or had the boat become a living creature clad with wings, and o'er his head the holy vessel hung, brighter than any rose, a joy to me, for now I knew the veil had been withdrawn. Then in a moment, when they blazed again, opening, I saw the least of little stars down on the waste, and straight beyond the star I saw the spiritual city and all her spires and gateways in a glory like one pearl, no larger though the goal of all the saints. Strike from the sea and from the star there shot a rose-red sparkle to the city, and there dwelt, and I knew it was the Holy Grail, which never eyes on earth again shall see. And if it is such a thing, the worldly vision doesn't ever see it. The psychic vision might touch it, but the spiritual vision is the one that holds it for what it is. Then fell the floods of heaven, drowning the deep, and how my feet were crossed the dreadful ridge, no memory in me lives, but that I touched the chapel doors at dawn I know, and thence, taking my war horse from the holy man, glad that no phantom vexed me more, returned to whence I came, the gate of Arthur's wars. O brother Axt Ambrosius, for in sooth these ancient books, and they would win thee team. Only I find not there this holy Grail, with miracles and marvels like to these, not all unlike, which oftentime I read. I read, who read but on my breviary with ease, till my head swims, and then go forth and pass down to the little thorpe that lies so close, and almost plastered like a martin's nest, to these old walls, and mingle with our folk, and knowing every honest face of theirs, as well as every shepherd knew his sheep, and every homely secret in their hearts. Delight myself with gossip and old wives, and ills and aches and teethings, lyings in, and mirthful sayings, children of the place, that have no meaning, half a league away, are lulling random squabbles when they rise. Chafferings and chatterings at the market cross, rejoice, small man, in this small world of mine, yea, even in their hens and in their eggs. O brother, saving this Sir Galahad, come ye on none but phantoms in your quest, no man, no woman. Then Sir Percival, all men to one so bound by such a vow, and women were as phantoms, O my brother. Why wilt thou shame me to confess to thee how far I faltered from my quest and vow, and after I had lain so many nights, a bedmate of the snail and eft and snake, in grass and burdock I was changed to wan and meagre, and the vision had not come. And then I chanced upon the goodly town, with one great dwelling in the middle of it. Thither I made, and there was I disarmed, by maidens each as fair as any flower. But when they led me into hall, behold, the princess of that castle was the one, brother, and that one only, who had ever made my heart leap. For when I moved of old a slender page about her father's hall, and she a slender maiden, all my heart went after her with longing, yet we twain had never kissed a kiss, or vowed a vow. And now I came upon her once again, and one had wedded her, and he was dead, and all his land and wealth and state were hers. And while I tarried, every day she sat a banquet richer than the day before by me, for all her longing and her will was toward me as of old, till one fair morn I walked to and fro beside a stream that flashed across her orchard underneath. Her castle walls she stole upon my walk, and calling me the greatest of all knights, embraced me, and so kissed me the first time, and gave herself and all her wealth to me. Then I remembered Arthur's warning word, that most of us would follow wandering fires, and the quest faded in my heart anon. The heads of all her people drew to me, with supplication both of knees and tongue. We have heard of thee, thou art our greatest knight. Our Lady says it, and we well believe. Wed thou our Lady, and rule over us, and thou shalt be as Arthur in our land. O me, my brother, but one night my vow burnt me within, so that I rose and fled, but wailed and wept, and hated mine own self, and even the holy quest, and all but her. Then, after I was joined with Galahad, cared not for her, nor anything upon earth. Then said the monk, poor men, when Yule is cold, must be content to sit by little fires, and this am I, that ye care for me, ever so little. Yea, and blessed be heaven that brought thee here to this poor house of ours, where all the brethren are so hard to warm my cold heart with a friend. But oh, the pity to find thine own first love once more to hold. Hold her, a wealthy bride, within thine arms, or all but hold, and then cast her aside, foregoing all her sweetness like a weed. For we that want the warmth of double life, we that are plagued with dreams of something sweet, beyond all sweetness, in a life so rich. Ah, blessed Lord, I speak too earthly wise, seeing I never strayed beyond the cell, but live like an old badger in this earth, with earth about him everywhere despite. All fast and penance saw ye none beside, none of your knights. Yea, so, said Percival. One night my pathway swerving east I saw the pelican on the casque of our Sir Bors, in all the middle of the rising moon, and toward him spurred and hailed him, and he me. And each made joy of either. Then he asked, Where is he? Hast thou seen him, Lancelot, once? Said good Sir Bors, and he dashed across me mad, and maddening what he rode. And when I cried, Ridest thou then so hotly on a quest, so holy? Lancelot shouted, Stay me not. I have been the sluggard, and I ride apace, for now there is a lion in the way, so vanished. Then Sir Bors had ridden on, softly and sorrowing for our Lancelot, because his former madness, once the talk and scandal of our table, had returned. For Lancelot's keith and kin so worship him, that ill to him is ill to them. And to Bors, beyond the rest, he well had been content, not to have seen, so Lancelot might have seen, the holy cup of healing, and, indeed, being so clouded with grief and love, small heart was his after the holy quest. If God would send the vision, well, if not, the quest and he were in the hands of heaven. It's not just questing the vision, it's believing in the possibility, or being ready to benefit from a vision other than, you've had a vision. And then the small adventure met. Sir Bors rode to the loneliest tract of all the realm, and found a people there among their crags, our race and blood, a remnant that were left, Paynim amid their circles, and the stones they pitch up straight to heaven, and their wise men were strong in that old magic which can trace the wanderings of the stars, and scoffed at him in this high quest as at a simple thing, told him he followed almost Arthur's words, a mocking fire, what other fire than he, whereby the blood beats, and the blossom blows, and the sea rolls, and all the world is warmed. And when his answer chaffed them, the rough crowd, hearing he had a difference with their priests, seized him, and bound, and plunged him into a cell of great piled stones, and laying bounden there in darkness through innumerable hours, he heard the hollow ringing of heaven's sweep over him till, by miracle, what else, heavy as it was, a great stone slipped and fell, such as no wind could move, and through the gap glimmered the streaming scud. Then came a night, still as the day was loud, and through the gap the 7 clear stars of Arthur's table round, for brothers so one night, because they roll through such a round in heaven, we named the stars, rejoicing in ourselves and in our king, and these like bright eyes of familiar friends in on him shone. And then to me, said Sir good Bors, beyond all hopes of mine, who scarce had prayed or asked it for myself, across the 7 clear stars, O grace to me, in color like fingers of a hand, before a burning taper, the sweet Grail glided and passed, and close upon it pealed a sharp quick thunder, afterwards a maid, who kept her holy faith among her kin, in secret entering and loosed and let him go, to whom the monk, and I remember now, that pelican on the cask, Sir Bors it was, who spake so lowly and sadly at our board, and mighty reverent at our grace was he, a square set man and honest, and his eyes an outdoor sign of all the warmth within, smiled with his lips a smile beneath a cloud, but heaven had meant it for a sunny one. Sir Bors, who else? But when ye reached the city, found ye all your knights returned, or was there sooth in Arthur's prophecy? Tell me, and what said each, and what the king? Then answered Perceval, and that can I, brother, and truly, since the living words of so great men as Lancelot and our king pass not from door to door and out again, but sit within the house. Oh, when we reached the city, our horses stumbling as they trode on heaps of ruin, hornless unicorns, cracked basilisks, and splintered cockatrices, and shattered talbots, which had left the stones raw that they fell from, brought us to the hall. And there sat Arthur on the da's throne, and those that had gone out upon the quest, wasted and worn, and but a tithe of them, and those that had not stood before the king, who, when he saw me, rose and bade me hail, saying, A welfare in thine eye reproves our fear of some disastrous chance for thee on hill or plain, at sea or flooding ford. So fierce a gale made havoc here of late. Among the strange devices of our kings, yea, shook this newer, stronger hall of ours, and from the statue Merlin molded for us, half wrenched a golden wing. But now the quest, this vision hast thou seen, the holy cup that Joseph brought of old to Glastonbury. Now we've seen this something interesting, is the old Christian fear of science. Acts 19:19 could say that any non-Christianized science book should be destroyed. And there's other indication against philosophy and stuff like this. So if somebody knows something about